Hello and good day. I'll basically be walking you through how to create a very simple three-screen application. So, as we've discussed, you're going to see this is the very first video, the very first step to when you begin your Microsoft Power Apps or Power Platform journey. First thing is you have to be acquainted with this interface, which, as you can see, this is where you're going to come to make.powerapps.com. I have a video I've created for how to set up your license in case you don't know how to do so, and come to this page. And finally, when you're here, you're going to be on the home, on this left navigation pane here under the home tab. As you can see, the first option is for you to build your application using Copilot. Let's take a quick look at that. We're going to use natural language to create an application. So it goes something like this. Create a, what do we say now? Let's say class attendance application for me. Very simple. Yes, let me switch my environment, switch and create, and switch to multiple environments. Let me pick one. I was in the default environment. I think I'll create a video link here to this, or to just look through my channel to see how to create an environment. A lot of resources on that anyways on the internet. So create a class attendance application for me. So it's setting up the app and the data behind. As you can see what it's saying, it's going to likely populate the app, also dummy data. Just have to wait for it for a minute. Okay, good data makes great apps. Let's review yours. Okay, let's review the data created for this application. So you can see how easy it is to create an application now, just using your natural language with the power of Copilot. And then it brings us here, where this is also the interface you interact with when you're building tables with what's it called, with Microsoft Copilot. So you can see attendance is linked to class, is linked to instructor. They're all generated with AI. You can see a little overview here. So the class, and then you can see the relationship. So we have a one-to-many relationship between the class and attendance, and a many-to-one relationship between the class and instructor. And then if you want to add a table, you can add table. And when you click on this, you can also view data, you can remove. So you can see the dummy data here. This is the primary column: attendance 1, class. Then these are different class: Math 101, student name, attendance, and so on. So you can now click on save and open app. So you might not get the exact result because it might differ. So Copilot responds to the prompts differently. You might use the same prompt but get quite a different result. It takes a little bit of time, so you may just have to wait a little bit, even though this video will make it look quite short, but then you have to exercise some patience. It's coming up. It's now bringing us to the Microsoft Power Studio. So I'll use this to explain how we got here and then what to do from here. Just give it a minute again. It's taking quite a while. Okay, so on my own end, this is taking too long. I'll likely abandon this and take another route, because sometimes this entire thing. So I'll just go to the three-screen application, and then I'm just going to build a very simple three-screen application that will demo everything that we need to, even though I just did this detour to show you the feature that has to do with using Copilot Studio. So let's move on. So we are now back to make the powerapps.com again. Now, to create a very simple 3-screen application, one of the very first things you want to do is to go to tables first, and then we're going to create a new table. So tables, you remember, is where Dataverse is basically, and then any other table that you see here that you have not created is called a common data service. So it's just entities that are usually commonly used across industry that has been already pre-created within Microsoft Dataverse. You can see you have a lot of options. We're not going to any of that today. Since we're going to be using Dataverse to create our 3-screen application, let us go and let's create. So this will go take you to that place you saw where you're going to create it using Copilot. This is going to be you doing the dirty work hands-on. So what's the display name? Let's call it class attendance table. It's a primary column. We're going to deal with this a bit later. I'm going to click on save. It's now going to drop us where we can find, we are now within our table. Now within your table you have certain options. This is where you find your columns. This is where you find relationships. So having an understanding of what data modeling is, you understand where relationships come in. So you will likely not see a diagram of how your tables are interconnected, but once you click on relationships, for instance, it's going to take you to this screen where there are already pre-existing relationships based on the default columns that it has also created for you. So you can add a new relationship, as you can see, and then let's get back. And as you can see, you've created a blank table, but it already has some default, what should I call it, columns already, as you can see. And these are the columns. So, and then you have keys, you have forms. More forms are mostly, as you can see, for data experiences. Keys has to do, of course, with primary keys and the rest. You have forms. This basically has to do with model driven applications, where you actually create forms to fill in and populate your data. You have views, how your data should be seen. You have charts and dashboards. Then for customization, you have business rules, and then you have commands. So let's customize this first. So we're going to edit this column. This little drop down here is what we clicked, and then this is going to be student ID. And then we're going to click on this. We're going to click on auto number. So we want to create a unique primary column to track each and every entry into the record. So what prefix should we give it? Let's call it CAT, class attendance. Let's call it CAS, class attendance system. You can see the little preview here. We can make this to be 1, and then this to be 1 as well, so that to start with CAS 1 down to CAS whatever, and then we can save. And then notice what will happen here. The name of this table will change. Next thing we're going to create is the student full name. So let's call it student full name, and then we're going to leave the data type at single line of text. So this is also the point where I want to discuss data types for Microsoft Power Apps. You can see we have text. These are the most fundamental: number, date, time, lookup, choice, currency, auto number, and file, and then formula. So the ones with the little icons here means that under them they have subcategories. So under text we have plain text, which is very simple and straightforward, just one line of text. We have a text area where you're going to be writing maybe something a bit long. We have rich text. Particularly rich text gives you the option to do a little bit of edit. You have email, phone, ticker symbol. You have a place to also put your URL. And then you have, as you can see, they have subcategories for single line of text and multiple line of text. So basically, some from the single line of text are taken into the multi line of text, which are these basically. So full name is just going to be a single line of text. We're going to stick to that. We have number as well, whole number, decimal, language code, duration, time zone. You might not need to know everything, but then there are documentations that explain each and every of these in detail. For dates, you have two options, date and time, so that the person will fill in date and time when time is required. But if you are just trying to capture the date, you can stick to date only. And then you have choice. You have lookup. Lookup is divided into lookup and customer. So lookup is a column that will be established to create a relationship between your table and another table. So that's lookup. So when you click on this, as you can see, it's going to ask you to provide a relatable table, which is going to be something like, let's say, account. So I'm going to be linking up account, and once you pick account, it's going to create the relationship automatically. But that's not what we're doing. And then you have choice, where you have choice and yes and no. Yes and no will make it a toggle where it's either true or false. Choice is where you're going to like give options of like male, female, others and the rest. So once it's beyond just a choice between either or, that's yes or no, you now use choice. When you click on it, you see that you have an option to begin to create your choice. And then, but then for this, we're going to stick with, we have currency. If you want to collect things that with number, we've talked about auto number. So we use for student ID. If you want to collect file or images, you use this. This is a bit advanced, not for the very, very beginners. But then formula is where you want to make the column calculated. So it is auto calculated depending on certain variables from other columns as well. I'm going to stick to text format, text. And then I'm going to click on save. So when you're also creating it, this option for required is, if you make it required, it means whenever you're submitting a form, it will not save without this. So of course, it's a very, very good choice to make full name required. Let's save this. And then we have this. So let's now create another one. As you can see, student full name here. We can call this attendance. So it's either you are present or not. So let's use choice. Let's use yes or no. Default choice is going to be no. I'm going to click on save. And then we have now created our table. If we create an app from here directly, it's going to create a model driven app for us. So let's go back to create. After we're now back at create, we want to create our 3-screen application using Dataverse. There are lots of resources to see how to use it with the SharePoint and Excel. The result is different, but basically the result is the same, but the ways to create it, because for SharePoint you have to create a SharePoint list. For Excel, you have to create Excel online. For SQL, you have to connect to an SQL server and the rest. So let's click on Dataverse. And then if you've not established a connection using Dataverse already, is now an option for you. You're going to click on new connection. You'll probably not see anything here. So I'm going to click on new connection. Going to scroll down. Look for Microsoft Dataverse, as you can see here. Click on it and then click on create. So you're creating a connection. It's going to ask for some authentication. As you can see, it's showing on the screen. Just give it a little bit of time. Pick your account and then click on allow access. So this is going to close the page. And then it has automatically connected. So now it's going to show you this little interface, and now you're going to search for your table. But then you can see that our class attendance table is here already. Funny. I'm going to click class attendance table and click on connect. This is going to be loading. So this is now building your application for you, getting things ready. It's now opening up the Microsoft Power Apps Canvas Studio. So let's just give it a little while. It's loading, doing all the necessary things. Since it's building the screen for us, it's going to take a little while. So yes, this is your application. You can click directly and look at a preview of your app, and that will now lead you to click on this play button. But I'm going to click on got it, and I click the play button. The app is here already, as you can see. So let's create some dummy data. So you can see that let me explain this. So this is basically your work area. This is where your screen is. You're going to be viewing the screens one screen at a time. You have your title bar here with all the details that has to do with the environment you're working in, whether or not you want to use Copilot, settings that will take you to your admin center, plans, advanced, and the rest. And then right beneath it, you have your little action bar. As you can see here, you have a lot of options to add new screen, to add data, to insert, and all the actions you want to take. Right beneath it, you have a place to pick a particular component and then pick certain properties about it, and then write what we call Power FX. So let's zoom out, and then this right here is your little, let me call it your navigation bar for the Microsoft Power Apps, where you can see you can click on all of these buttons to look at basically what they do. This is to insert, this is to have your data. If you want to add a data, you can see that this table is added already, to check your variables, and you can add media. Your automations will appear here, and then you can look at your advanced tools here. The most important place is the preview, which is where you're going to see all your screens. So after you've created your 3-screen application, you have the browse screen, the detail screen, and then the edit screen, right? So let's see how this works. So when you click on your browse screen, let's play the app. As you can see here, you're now going to click on the plus icon here, and then we're going to make little changes, because you can see you can't make any changes to this. Then you click the check, student full name is required. I love this. Okay, so let's get back into the application. Let's begin to make a correction. So this is the edit screen. This is the detail screen. The detail screen is meant to show us the details of what's on our table. So let's start with the detail screen. Let's click within this space. Once you've clicked within this space, you're going to see that this detail form, which is automatically created and named, it appears here. You're going to go to the right pane here. So the properties pane here, which you have, is also reflected here. So the properties, that are attached to the formula bar, you can actually see that it's connected so much to this little this pane here on your right hand side. You have advanced options, you have basic display options. So you're going to click on the 2 selected here, which is next to fields. As you can see here, I'm going to move my mouse gently, and then I'm going to click on selected, and then I'm going to add fields. So when I add fields, I'm going to add attendance, then I'm going to scroll down and then look for student's full name and just check the 2 of them. Attendance, remember, go down, student full name, click on add, and then they've not been added yet. So you can see it's now reflecting. And then what I will do is I'm now going to remove the created on. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to click the little drop down here under the detail screen. I'm going to click on the edit screen now. Then I'm going to click the little icon next to it that points towards it, like the greater than sign. And then once they drop down, I'll click on the edit form. Then I'm going to do the same thing, but for fields here, you're going to see edit fields. So I'm going to click on it as well. I'm going to click on add fields. So once I click on edit field here, as you can see, it's going to open up this little window again. I'm going to click on add field. To add field, click on attendance, scroll down, and then click on student full name. then click on add. So I've checked the two of them, attendance and student full name. I'm going to click add. They're going to appear here, and then once they appear here, I'm going to remove this created on. Now to remove the created on, once you hover over it, three little dots will appear on the furthest part of this on the right. You can see it's showing more action on the tooltip. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to click remove. So it makes sense that student full name should come after student ID. So I'll go to that place again, click on it, and then you see move up, and then I can move it up. So we're done setting up our 3-screen application. It's now time to test it. Let's click on play. Now let's close this again so that we can start from the browse screen. Click the browse screen and then click on play. Then you click on the plus sign. Student full name. Student full name is Panchak Jeremiah Kopra. The attendance is yes, I attended class. Student ID is auto-generated, so it's going to be left away. Then click on submit. So once it's submitted, that brought me back here. So one of the things you're seeing is displaying here is CAS1. So this means that it is displaying my student ID. So let's get here. Let's make another edit, one final one. Let's zoom in so that you can see CAS1. I'm going to click CAS1, and then what you're going to see is that at the very top here, yours might not be CAS1, but if you want to change it, once you click on CAS1, you come to the formula bar here, and then you clear whatever is here, including the dots between this item and the student, and then you enter the dot again. It's now going to give you an option, as you can see here, and you click on student full name. So it's now showing my full name, and then we're going to zoom out. This is the little footer down here. Then I'm going to click on play again, and let me get this. Trying to see if I can get screen that is better so that we can have a better look. So from here, you can see my name shows up. When I click on my name, it gives me an overview of what the content of my name is. If I want to delete this record, the item can be deleted, and then you can see it's now empty. So the record I created has now been removed. I can click on the plus again to add my name. Attendance, no. I'm going to check this. So this is how it is. You've now basically created a 3-screen application. Now you can close this and enjoy your application. So thank you very much.